You know, it's funny, the way I discovered Rise of Kingdoms was actually from another content creator who I think was sponsored to make a video. So this was Mobile Gamer. He made a video back in the day, way back in the day, like the very beginning of Rise of Kingdoms. And I saw this video and I'd been, subscribed to his channel, been watching his stuff, really enjoyed it. And I said, sure, like, I'll give this game a try. Like, these huge kingdoms and, you build armies and you collect commanders. And I was into all of that. I mean, I got pretty hyped about that. I started playing and I mean, it's hard to not get pretty addicted to Rise of Kingdoms, in part because there's like so much at risk all the time that you're playing, especially in the beginning of the game. Like, your city could get attacked, you're counting on your alliance to be well run. The kingdom is just total mayhem at the start of the game, which is very fun. So I got hooked on Rise of Kingdoms pretty quickly, and only about a month or so into my playing was I looking for just like more information about like, how do I, play my account better. And I found a forum for Rise of Kingdoms. It was an official forum. And there was a post there advertising that they were going to do a sponsored content creator program. And so I saw that and I thought, like, okay, like I watch a lot of videos about, how to be better at games. I used to also professionally teach people product and technology and how to build software. And so there was a pretty like natural combination here of like, I've been gaming my whole life and I also teach people how to do stuff, and like, why don't I like teach people how to play games better? So I applied to that content creator program and I started making videos every single day to see if anybody even wanted to see what I had to say about Rise of Kingdoms. And it was my 10th video, 8 common mistakes in Rise of Kingdoms, that now has over 500,000 views. I mean, it really took off. And I was like, oh, okay, yeah, this is something that people actually like are interested in. And I guess I'm like entertaining or interesting enough that people want to watch. So I started, doing those daily videos, and I've been trying to keep on that daily cadence ever since. Going into this whole process, my sort of riskiest assumption that I wanted to figure out whether or not it was true is if people wanted to watch me. And as soon as I saw like people wanted to watch Rise of Kingdoms videos and that I was entertaining enough to put some stuff out, I mean, I really went all in on the content grind of trying to find really helpful stuff to share in an ongoing basis. Most content creators probably don't start with actually like a business plan, but at the very beginning, when I applied to the official Rise of Kingdoms content creator program, I put together a business plan because I was like a nobody. I had 0 subscribers. I was like, you should sponsor me. And it was like, well, why should you? So I put together a detailed plan. I actually chatted with somebody from your team about that plan. And they were like, you know what? You don't have a lot of subscribers yet, but I believe in you. And so here we are today. Yeah. 137,000 subscribers later. It's pretty wild. I used to work full-time, and I was doing gaming and content creation really as like a side hustle. And it was around when COVID hit that I decided to make the shift from being in a career where at some point I might need to go back in person to working from my basement in front of a camera and not having to be around anybody if I kind of don't want to. And so like gaming is something for me that I've just always been able to do kind of endlessly. And creating content has just become a different sort of game that I'm now playing while also playing games, which is very fun. I mean, this is the most extra full-time job I have ever done in my entire life, okay? And a part of the reason that that's the case is like sometimes stuff is happening in-game and it may not always be convenient for, recording. So I remember one time specifically, there was the player Solimar. At the time, I think he was the strongest player in the game, right? He was like 400 million power. And I was literally at a class with my wife because she's pregnant, and it's like, how to have a baby, and it's like everything you need to know about having a baby, and it's like an afternoon-long class, okay? And I'm sitting in class, and I get a message. It's like, hey, Chisgule, you really need to start recording right now. And I was like, well, what do you mean? I'm in this class. and I open up my phone and there's like 10 rallies at a time on Solomar, and I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna hit record over here. Okay. Yeah, being a content creator is like really very full-time. It was very high risk to like switch from, you know, what I was doing to being full-time as a content creator, but also I had spent like over a year learning that I really like it. I'm very passionate about it. There's a lot of people interested in like Rise of Kingdoms and the things that I'm producing for Rise of Kingdoms. So while in some ways it was risky, I also, in other ways, had spent like over a year kind of proving like, yeah, hey, this could work. Yeah, no, it's a weird one now. So, you know, I'm like, oh, I'm a content creator. And people say, well, what does that mean? Is that like you're on TikTok? And I'm like, no TikToks for me personally. So being a full-time content creator has definitely been very life-changing. In part, I mean, my family is very understanding. My wife also is a little bit of a gamer. And so she understands when, like, all right, honey, I'm like off to war for the next week. Like she kind of gets it, which I think is really good, because otherwise, like, I don't know how I would be able to play and stream kind of as much as I do and to create that really great situation. But playing and creating content full time for Rise of Kingdoms, I think most importantly, has connected me with like a really awesome group of people, both within my own kingdom and other kingdoms. It has just been tremendously fun to get to know the huge community of players that are, you know, passionate gamers and passionate about Rise of Kingdoms. And like, you know, you put your troops on the line in this game in a way that's just so unusual. Like, you really trust the team that you're with, and that's just been an incredible, I think, bonding experience. So at a personal level, I think that my life has changed pretty profoundly by, you know, switching my career in a way that I just never would have imagined. Like, I'm a full-time content creator. Like, even the content creator on the side thing was like a thing I never thought I was going to be doing. So I'm very appreciative of sort of the opportunities I've had to create content for Rise of Kingdoms. And really, you all had that content creator sponsor program in the first place that sort of gave me a little nudge to like, hey, maybe go create some content. And I did. And it's been just truly been very life-changing. Yeah, so a lot goes into creating a video. So I got to first figure out what I want to make a video about. And sometimes that process of figuring out what to do takes a long time, and sometimes it's pretty quick. And then I generally put together a little bit of a script, more of an outline of like, what are all the things I need to make sure that I talk about during this video? And depending on what I'm doing, I have to go then do a bunch of testing in game or collect information potentially, or record with people to sort of learn the things we need to learn, and then put it all together for presentation and record it, and then edit it and create a thumbnail, and then upload it and do all the stuff that goes into YouTube to get those settings just right to make sure that it, you know, the video is going to get some attention. So there is a lot that goes into that. I do, for some videos, work with an editor, but for the most part, because I generally try to shoot the video with a very short amount of time between when I go live with the video, that way everything is nice and crisp and relevant and like still true, right? Because things change pretty quickly in Rise of Kingdoms, right? Like, patches come pretty fast in the grand scheme of things, right? So I generally, when I shoot a video, try to very quickly like turn it around and make it live. So I edit a lot of videos myself. So I think for anyone who would want to create content or become a content creator, just start making videos. I mean, I, in my first videos, just did voice, no camera, okay? And I recorded, and I didn't even have editing software. I didn't know how to edit. Like, so I would one take the whole video with no hiccups, no sneezes, no nothing, and to just upload the video. I didn't know how to make a thumbnail, so I had some like really goofy looking picture that I put up there, right? No excuses. I just started making content. And I think if someone wants to get into content creation, that's where you start. Start making videos, start uploading them, see if people watch them, right? And if they do, you know you're onto something. And more importantly, do you like it? Because if you don't enjoy doing it, man, it's the wrong side hustle, right? To get into if you aren't super passionate about it. So figure out if you like it, right? I think that's probably the riskiest assumption, is not will people watch you, or will you learn how to do it? I think anyone could learn how to be a content creator. The bigger question is, how much are you going to like it? And are you really going to enjoy, all the time, the investment that goes into that? The real Chisgule is in his 30s, married with a kid, my sweet little girl. She's almost 2. I live in the suburbs on the East Coast in the US. I'm really into technology because I used to work in technology. So I like high-tech devices, even though, I don't know, most of the time now I'm focused on like recording equipment and things I can play games with. But I used to be, really into like what is the latest and greatest tech. Before just going off the deep end with mobile gaming, I used to be really into board games. So, more than my fair share of Settlers of Catan back in the day. And, I've just been playing games ever since I was a little kid. I mean, my dad was really into games, and I remember, playing Commander Keen way back in the day on like a really basic computer, just, like sitting on my dad's lap, and, we would be playing, and I was too little to actually really understand what the heck was happening. You just like, bounced on an enemy's head and they disappeared. And I was like, okay, that's kind of cool, right? The OG games back in the day. But that's how I got started. By the way, this is kind of funny, but when I had about 50,000 subscribers, I was like, oh man, maybe it was closer. Yeah, it was about 50,000 subscribers. I went to PAX East. It's a big gaming conference. And I thought for sure, when I'm walking around with my Chisgule Gaming t-shirt, like somebody is going to know Chisgule Gaming, because it's a gaming conference, right? And like nobody knew me, nobody said hi. So I mean, it's just like, it's kind of funny. I don't know, like 100,000 subscribers is in some ways like a big deal, but also like, I'm just a dude on the internet hoping and helping, hopefully helping other people get better at playing Rise of Kingdoms. I think the most memorable KVK for me was my KVK Season 3. So in KVK Season 3 for us, we were just like bringing a whole bunch of people together in a new kingdom. This was just like an idea that we could bring all these great players to another kingdom and like together be awesome. And we, in our infinite wisdom, decided to take a 3v5 fight against our favor. The war camps are generally pretty balanced, so 3v5 is kind of insane. And we ended up winning that KVK, which was nuts, but it was just a full week of, you wake up and like you lost a bunch of territory and you got to get back to it, and everybody's losing a ton of troops. And this was before you got, your Hall of Heroes troop return. So whatever you lost, man, it's just gone, right? So it was a crazy experience. There was, of course, some drama there with our allies, with the enemies. But at the end of the day, we've made a bunch of friends from ally camps and enemy camps alike, and in fact became very close allies with one of the kingdoms that we were battling against there. So that was just an incredibly memorable KVK experience. So I do play a few other mobile games. There's just not much time after that for other games. So I'll dabble every now and then to see like, hey, what's cool, right? And I used to play a lot of Magic the Gathering, and I really enjoyed that. And I'd game to draft at some point, right? That was a cool game. But I'm just really all in on Rise of Kingdoms, between the main account, the restart account, the farm account, the Kingdom 2 account, so I can see what's new, right? Like I got a lot to do there. So it's mostly Rise of Kingdoms these days. Oh yeah, and running a kingdom. That's a big one, where, as much as possible, that's the sort of thing where I'm like trying to work myself out of needing to do stuff for that, and mostly just giving sort of guidance and direction and making sure we're all headed the right way. But that's kingdom management's kind of a big time sink. Community is one of the most important aspects of Rise of Kingdoms. This is really just like, there's no way around it. I think it's really great that alliances are as large as they are, because, some players come and go, but it becomes such a vibrant group of players and connections and friendships because you spend so much time together that I know a lot of kingdoms will just like hang out in voice in the evenings just to like chat. Especially, I feel like that's almost one of the most fun aspects of KVK is just hanging out with people for a really long time that you enjoy hanging out with and solving problems together, you know, and we all like war games of this genre, which is why we're all playing like this game in part, right? And so it's a lot of people that like you share a common interest with. Yeah, I mean, the connections you form with people are really wild. I mean, I feel like there's almost anywhere in the world I would want to go, there's someone I would want to meet because I've chatted with them in Rise of Kingdoms, you know? I think that the communities and groups that formed here are just really unbelievable. And even after all the adversarial stuff, I mean, you know, as long as you don't go too toxic on the other side, right? Which I get that there's some people really enjoy doing that. Like you can really connect with them afterwards and form a bond and, you know, be allies or friends and hang out. I have actually met players in real life. Amazingly, in my very first kingdom, there was a player named B who lived in Hong Kong. And I happened to visit Hong Kong and let him know that I was going to be in Hong Kong. And because he was in Hong Kong, he was like, hey, let's meet up. And we actually got dim sum. And it was like the best dim sum I've ever had. But I have met up with players and it was just very memorable. And so weird, just sort of being in this other context of like, you know, we're in game all the time and then we're in real life and we're, you know, talking about some real life stuff, but it's only a matter of like half an hour before we're back to talking about game stuff. What is going on, governors? I think my message to the community will be to really get to know the other people that you're playing the game with. And I think that can be like the most fun and rewarding thing beyond just collecting commanders and training troops and all that stuff. Like really enjoy the team that you are playing this game with, right? That is what brings the fun, in my opinion, to the have fun smashing the kingdom part of my tagline. It's been an amazing journey, and I really hope that there are many more years to come with new content in game and new enemies to slay and friends to make. And, you know, I am hyped for the future of Rise of Kingdoms. I'm hoping that we've just got many, many years to come of playing this game together.